Hello and welcome to Mulcahy Stadium for the 2024 Alaska Baseball League playoffs. Will Hopkins alongside Vic Massey as we bring you an Anchorage matchup between the Bucs and the Glacier Pilots. The Bucs 8-2 against the Pilots so far this season in league play and a much better record overall, 27-12 for the Bucs, 13-27 for the Pilots. Because of that, the Bucs will be the home team for 2 out of these 3 games, with the second game the Pilots being the home team, but obviously all games here at Mulcahy Stadium. And the Pilots have been reeling of late. 11 losses in a row, but still a team that's been playing a little bit better, at least relatively, over the last few games. And it's still a playoff series, never going to be easy. What are you looking for today for the Bucs to take advantage and get game one on the right side?
Well, I think me and you were both talking about the fact that it's super important that the Bucks score early, they maintain a lead, and they just keep adding on and further extending themselves away from that Pilots offense and just picking up a couple runs each inning. And like you say, you're chipping off the lead when you're down. You kind of want to chip away and keep adding on to that lead as this game progresses. Want to get out, maybe put up a crooked number in the first inning. If you don't do that, put up one or two, then just keep adding on. The Bucks have been very good against this Pilots team. 62 runs in 10 games, and well, I'll save you the quick math. That's 6.2 runs per game for the Bucks, and that is outstanding. And honestly, not very shocking because the Bucks offense is so good. So 6 runs a game against the Pilots, it might sound shocking if you're not as familiar with the Bucks, but for us, it's not shocking at all. And 17 runs allowed against the Pilots in those 10 games. That's less than 2 runs a game. And how about 2 shutouts, one combined no hitter against this Pilots offense that has just been very lethargic this whole season in these last 11 games. Well, they put up some good runs against the Oilers in a couple of games out in the peninsula, but besides that, they have really struggled, and resting the pitchers has just not helped their case.
Yeah, over this 11 game losing streak, they're losing by an average score of just over 7 runs to over 2.5 runs. I will say 24 of the 29 runs they've scored in that 11 game span have come in their last 4 games. So the offense is getting a little bit better. And with a team that struggled so much, no need to give them any unnecessary confidence early in the game. And that's why I agree with you in that scoring first and continuing to add on and just shoot any little bit of confidence that this team might have coming in would be ideal.
Yeah, and the offensive production for the Pilots, we have to reel that back a little bit and think about the Oilers, who, yes, they have almost a tied record with the Miners, but they've been struggling themselves too. And I think that they got lucky that they had a little bit of an easier schedule going into the later half where they were able to pick up wins against the Pilots, but they gave up a lot of runs. And that's an Oilers team that's really competitive. But what I think happened is they're also resting pitchers, getting ready for the playoffs a little bit. They're thinking they've locked in, if they did lock in that 3 seed pretty early. So they were probably resting some pitchers. They do really well out in the peninsula in general. So those wins, despite the Pilots scoring a good bit, I'm still confident in the Bucks. They've got a really good guy in Garvey Rummery going out on the mound. I know we're going to get to that later, but I just can't help but talk about him. Lowest ERA in baseball. I know he doesn't have the innings for it to count as one of the top ERAs, but he's just been phenomenal. And on the other side, the Pilots have another good guy on the mound themselves. But not talking about that, going back to the Bucks and their offensive success against the Miners, they really struggled going into the middle of July. But after that struggle, they really looked good. And at 15 runs put up on them in the last game of the season. I mean, can you even believe that? I can't believe that because the Bucks, they've been amazing. The offense has been outstanding. Like I said, 62 runs in 10 games versus the Pilots, but 15 runs versus a Miners pitching staff like that was great to see. And 10 runs before that, this Bucks team, 25 runs in 2 games against the Miners. That's got to be feel really good for a guy like Garvey Rummery, who has barely given up any runs this whole season, to go out there to shove against this Pilots team and just trust his offense.
Well, let's see the offense score early and often. Let's see them get that first win under their belt, not only for this team, but for last year's team that was swept in the first round against these Pilots. Looking for revenge, we'll give you the starting pitching matchup and the batting orders when we come back. Welcome back to a Mulcahy Stadium that's getting sunnier and sunnier. It was pretty cloudy about 30 minutes ago, but those clouds starting to move away as we see the wind blowing out towards left field. We'll see if that's a factor for some of the right-handed hitters. And speaking of hitters, at least for the Pilots, they're going to have their hands full with Garvey Rumry on the mound. He's been fantastic this season. Vic, what are you looking to see from him specifically early on in this one?
Well, for Garvey, I think that he has two abilities, and those abilities, one is he could be a strikeout type of guy. He can go out there and he can get fill up the zone. He can go work high up in the strike zone, elevate those fastballs, and really get big swing and misses. But he can also take a little bit off of that velo and really work to manufacture fly balls and ground balls. We saw 14 fly balls out in the peninsula. He was an absolute machine. Looked amazing and went 8 and 2/3 innings. We really thought that he was going to go the full distance in that game, or was that this? That was a 7 inning game, I believe. He, getting a little bit too ahead of myself for Garvey Rumry, but like I said, he has the ability to go out there and. Like I said, be a strikeout type of guy, but he also has the ability to manufacture outs in multiple different ways. And being that he's a lefty, it's a little bit different because the Bucs don't have a lot of lefties themselves. It's Garvey, it's Cole Carlone, Brett Castillo, who we haven't seen that much, and Riley Hunsaker, who we just saw. But besides that, not a lot of lefty arms for this pitching staff. So I think for Garvey Rumry, he's got a huge advantage. And Will, the fact that he hasn't pitched against the Pilots since early June or mid June, I would say, is a really big advantage. In that, going back to that Oilers game, that was a 7 and a third innings pitch, 2 hits, no earned runs, and just had a couple of strikeouts in that game because, like I said, he just pitched to contact and he got that weak contact for them. Had 2 strikeouts in 7 and 1/3 innings. But we go to another outing against the Matsu Miners. We had 9 strikeouts, had 6 strikeouts against the Chinooks in those two starts respectively. So he has the ability to do multiple different things, but he's facing off against a guy, Tyler Stewart, who has pitched pretty well against the Bucs, but he did have a tough time last time out.
Yes, he did have a tough time last time out, did Stewart, against these Bucks specifically. 3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 1 strikeout and 1 walk. That was a dominant 9-1 win in Game One of the Mayor's Cup, which the Bucks took in a sweep. That was back on July 12th. But his last time out overall against the Miners was a 1-0 win, and he pitched well. 5 innings, no hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, and 1 walk. He earned the win. So it's a little bit hit or miss for Stewart. And even though he struggled in that latest appearance against the Bucs, he had a couple good appearances against the Bucs, totaling 9 innings, 4 hits, and no runs. So it's kind of a matter of what Tyler Stewart will we get. But as far as Garvey Rumry goes, we kind of know which Garvey Rumry we're getting. Coming in 8 appearances, 5 of them starts. Interestingly, 3 of those bullpen appearances, 2 of them coming against the Pilots, totaling 3 innings, no hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, and 2 walks. So nobody that he's facing today has a hit off of him. And 28 and 2/3 innings pitched, a .31 ERA. Just a shame that the qualifications for that ERA counting are so high, but I know he won't care about those league leaderboards. Just 12 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned run in 28 and 2/3 innings for Rumry, 31 strikeouts and 10 walks. Just not a single part of that stat line that you could have any problems with. It's just fantastic. And last time out, only threw 9 pitches. He was used in the bullpen after a game he was supposed to start was canceled due to rain. Um, Only faced 2 batters. One reached via error and one flew out. And then after 9 pitches, the game was called due to rain. So he should be very fresh. His last real appearance and start came back on the 23rd. 5 innings, 2 hits, of course, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and no walks. So just incredible stuff from him. 71 pitches. And again, that's back on the 23rd. So sitting here on August 3rd, he should be super fresh and ready to go and face off against Tyler Stewart. And even though Stewart's had some good games, you got to feel like the Bucs have the advantage with Rumry on the mound.
Oh, 100%. And going back to Rumry, the Bucs are 6 and 2 when he has pitched in a game. But of course, going back to those first couple outings, they were out of the bullpen, so it really didn't have a super big effect on that game. But like I said, 6 and 2 when he's out on the mound. The Bucs have done a good job giving him some run support early. And going back to Stewart, June 6th, first time out against the Bucs, looked absolutely great. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs. July 3rd, similar thing. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs. Had 3 strikeouts, and then in his first outing, 5 strikeouts. But you could definitely tell that the Bucs are a super hard team to strike out. And even though he's pitched really well against the Bucs in those first 2 starts, still not a lot of Ks for him. But last time out, struggled against the Bucs, like you said, 3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 earned runs. So a little bit of a different change of pace for Tyler Stewart against these Bucs. You can tell that the offense is heating up. And, well, for the Pilots, they're going to have to do a really good job of getting some run support off of a really tough pitcher in Garvey Rubbery. And, Will, I just don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, Stewart's going to need to be at his best, knowing that his offense might not be able to provide a lot. For Stewart's full season, 7 appearances, all of them starts, a 1-2 record, 29 innings, a 2.17 ERA, very impressive. 26 hits, 8 runs, 7 of them earned, 30 strikeouts, and just 7 walks. So Bucks probably won't be able to rely on the free passes as much as they would like to, as our managers are meeting at home plate. Coach Bill Springman for the Bucks, Coach Rich Price for the Glacier Pilots, with the 3 umpire crew. It'll be Bob Melms at home plate, Nicholas Reynolds at first base, and Daryl Cooper at third base. Wish we could get the 4 umpire crew for the playoffs, but guess that they're up in Palmer. And with the coaches meeting and exchanging lineups, then we'll go ahead and give those to you.
Yeah, starting with the visiting Pilots, who Garvey Rummery will see in the top half of the first inning. They'll lead it off like usual, Dylan Marks playing in left field, followed by their shortstop, Luke Hefner, in the 2-hole. Then, batting third, Luke Stogel will play in right field. Junior Barajas, normal guy in their order, but is behind the plate catching. Usually see him the designated hitter spot, but he will be the catcher for this game one. And then Owen Hayes at first base will bat five. The 6-hole batter, Chase Knight, their everyday third baseman. Jacob Coes will be the designated hitter and bat seventh. Logan Sanders, one of the two brothers in the lineup, batting eighth and playing in center field. And there's the other Sanders, Troy Sanders, batting ninth and playing at second base. Once again, for the visiting Anchorage Glacier Pilots for game one, Marks, Hefner, Stolga, Barajas, Hayes, Knight, Coes, Sanders, and Sanders. Once again, their starting pitcher, Tyler Stewart, on the hill. We will see him in the bottom half of the first inning. In the Bucks, we will also see their bats in the bottom half of the first inning. They'll lead it off with Cole Carlone, the designated hitter. Josh Hankins leaving the ball club earlier, or excuse me, the past couple of days has left. So Cole Carlone will be the leadoff batter. Seen that a couple of times, but not as of late. Andrew Lamb moves up to the 2-hole and playing right field. Ryan Callahan will bat third and moves into third base. Tommy Eisenstadt will be the cleanup batter and play at first base. The catcher, Brody Briggs, will hit fifth. Max Ross back into the order, starting lineup, I should say, and playing in center field, still nursing that shoulder injury a little bit. Hopefully he's okay. Will Burns will bat seventh and play at shortstop. Riley Hunsaker will be the 8-hole hitter and play in left field, batting ninth. Rounding out the order for the Bucks, Rob Vandergrift will play at second base. Once again, for the Bucks, Carlone, Lamb, Callahan, Eisenstadt, Briggs, Ross, Burns, Hunsaker, and Vandergrift. Just about 5 minutes away from first pitch. Might be a little bit after 4 o'clock for first pitch. Usually the Bucks starting games at 6 o'clock. That would be 10 o'clock Eastern time, so we're glad we're a little bit earlier for Eastern time, folks. And once again, for the Bucks, Garvey Rummery on the hill. And interestingly enough, the Bucks are 6-3 when trying to win 2 straight games after a loss. Let me put that into perspective a little bit. The Bucks started out the season with a loss against the Glacier Pilots and went on a 5-game win streak. Then lost after those non-league games to the Glacier Pilots. Again, by the way, those are the only 2 losses versus the Glacier Pilots. And then after that second loss, 5 straight wins again. 6 straight wins was the longest win streak for the Bucks. So like I was saying, the Bucks 6-3 when trying to win 2 straight after a loss. We see in every baseball league, a handful of 500 teams, teams that play 500 the whole year, teams that play 500 for half the year or the second half of the year, and just struggle to build wins back to back to back. But the Bucks do such a great job after winning one game, and I say that because the Bucks won yesterday, or excuse me, 2 days ago against the Matsu Miners, coming off of a Game 2 doubleheader loss to the Chinooks. So, like I said, 6-3 when trying to win 2 straight. That's pretty good, and they're against a really good team in the Glacier Pilots. So the Bucks getting announced onto the field, it's Max Ross, and then the rest of the batting order. Will Burns, like I said, moving down a little bit, but he has been red hot coming off of that slump. I would say the middle of July slump, and has just looked incredible. Really good to have his bat started heating up, especially with Hankins out of the order and back home. Hopefully, maybe he will return. We're hearing rumors, but none of that is confirmed. But what is confirmed is we will have the national anthem, so we'll step aside. We'll bring you that as Garvey Rummery heads out onto the hill.
Rise, if you're able, turn, move your head here, face the flag in left field, and join us in honoring America with the national anthem. Was
Welcome back to Mulcahy Stadium. Just a couple of minutes away from first pitch 2024 ABL playoff game. Game 1 of this first round. 2 wins secures a spot into the championship series that will play directly after this series. And if the Bucs win 2 straight, and similarly for the Pilots, if they win 2 straight, we'll enjoy an off day before starting that championship series. So hoping for the best for the Bucs as they enter the field, setting the defense for you and starting with the first baseman Tommy Eisenstadt, Rob Vandergrift at second base, Will Burns at short, Ryan Callahan moves back in the infield and will play third. Hunsaker, Ross, and Land, that's left field, center field, and then right field, and your battery, Brody Briggs and Garvey Rummery. Rummery, 6'3", 195 out of Orange County, California, San Diego State Aztec, that's where he plays ball. And for Brody Briggs, the Arizona State backstop, around the horn, Tommy Eisenstadt, Gonzaga, Rob Vandergrift, Ottawa U in Arizona, Will Burns, Texas Tech, and then Ryan Callahan, Wichita State. So that is our infield. Riley Hunsaker out there, USC, Max Ross, Santa Clara, Andrew Lamb out there, also USC. So a bunch of big-name schools. The Bucs, a big-name team, I will say, and the best record heading into the playoffs, and just a magnificent regular season for this Bucs team. The best winning percentage for as long as we have on record. Best winning percentage since at least 2019, where the Bucs took that championship, and hoping to do the same. But it starts all with Game 1, first inning, and of course first pitch from Garvey Rummery, who has just been lights out this whole season. Wishing he had a couple more innings to get that innings number a little bit higher so he could be in the conversation for best ERA. We remind you with that .31. He gets the toss from the middle infield, stepping up to the plate, Dylan Marks, and here for the play-by-play, Will the Thrill Hopkins.
Thank you very much, Vic. Hoping for a thrill here in Game 1 from the Bucs. First, a quiet top half of the first inning. Rummery facing Dylan Marks, Luke Hefner Jr., and Luke Stolga. As the lefty working out of the windup delivers the first pitch, and Marks fouls it off. Marks 0 for 2 against Garvey Rummery. That's one at-bat on June 6th and one at-bat on June 21st. Been a while since Rummery has faced these guys and has only faced them for 3 innings. 0-1, another swing, grounder, chance for Vandegrift. He scoops it up and makes the throw. A smooth, easy, quick first out for the Bucs.
And for playoffs, every single out is important. Every single pitch is important. And even if it's summer baseball, it's still super important that all the pitchers be really efficient. And Garvey Rummery is one of those pitchers. Like I said, 14 pop fly outs in his 7 1/3 innings out in the Peninsula was just amazing to see. So he pitches to contact, and you see it right there.
Now, lefty-lefty matchup with Hefner, the shortstop. He takes a strike on the outside corner. Hefner 0 for 1 with a strikeout. And it's interesting, those 2 relief appearances coming both against these Pilots, because up until last week, only due to the rainout, Rummery didn't pitch out of the bullpen any other time all season.
Yeah, I'm just getting him a little bit of a touch-up because that game against the Chinooks got rained out, so his start was skipped. And probably a good idea. Didn't want to mess anyone else up. Rather just mess up, I guess, Garvey than 2 pitchers.
And unfortunately, he comes in and hits Luke Hefner. It's a first-inning base runner, a hit-by-pitch from Rummery.
Yeah, and not the best pitch from Rummery, but still working inside, which I don't mind. And Hefner stands pretty close to the plate, and that one didn't hit him, I would say, in a way that was directly aimed at him. Not that anyone's aiming at the batter, but it didn't seem like too bad of a pitch. It's just Hefner's pretty close to home plate.
So now another righty in Luke Stolga. Marks and Stolga righties. Hefner, the lefty in the first inning, way outside. Stolga hitting just 187, batting in that 3-hole. Does lead the team by 5 RBIs with 17, though, so they like his run production. Way outside, and no chance for Brody Briggs. Now Hefner's in scoring position, and against a guy who leads the team in RBIs at the plate. Definitely not what you want to see.
Yeah, and the first one missed outside a good bit, too, and just didn't seem to have the right release point on both of those fastballs. So hopefully he hones in, tries to find the strike zone. Is a big fastball thrower, so we're expected to see a lot of that today. But he does have other pitches to go to, that breaking ball, so wouldn't be surprised if he switches up a little bit, especially get back into a count.
2-0, fouled right over our heads, and Rummery was talking about pitching with Brody Briggs behind the plate. He said Briggs calls a lot of fastballs, and that's right up Rummery's alley. He loves throwing fastballs, especially the first time through the order.
Yeah, he's a huge fastball pitcher, and why not? In ABL play, a lot of teams cannot catch up to these Bucs pitchers' fastballs. We've seen it time and time again from Halverson, from Carlone. Why not throw it?
Looked like another one there that Stolga just got a piece
Yeah,
of.
he's
Good,
late.
Yeah, good job by Rummery to work back into this count.
And he's trusting that fastball. Hasn't really done him wrong. The hit by pitch, it's not like he's given up a big hit yet, so keep pumping the fastball, and if you have to adjust, you have to adjust. But for now, just keep rolling with what's working.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out in the top of the first inning, game 1 of the first round of the ABL playoffs. Well outside from Rummery, and that's been the miss so far.
Yeah,
Arm side.
looked like he either took something off the fastball. Honestly, looked like a changeup away, which you don't see him throw too much. Maybe not trusting that fastball as much because he missed those first 2 way outside, but would like to see him go back to it and get some confidence back.
Full count pitch to Stolga. Tried to paint that outside corner just a bit too high. And Stolga takes first, which was open, and now that double play is back in order. As Junior Barajas, who you mentioned, we almost only see as a designated hitter. He's a catcher by trade, and that's the position he's playing today. We're used to seeing Bo Rico as a backstop, but not the case today. Hefner at second, Stolga at first, Barajas at the plate. Burns and Vandegrift looking to turn 2. No sleeves for Will Burns. Has gone back and forth over the last couple of weeks. The lefty Barajas reaches for the first pitch. 0-1 the count after the foul ball.
Sun's really started to poke out here. It looks like a gorgeous day. Thought it was going to be all clouds, but it's really working for us.
That really changed pretty quickly. Pulled foul on the ground by Barajas. So 0-2 now through 12 pitches from Rummery. It was 6 balls and 6 strikes, an even split. And then that strike making it so he's got more of the good one. Trying to take care of Barajas for the second out. Ahead, no balls and 2 strikes.
Let's see him attack him here.
Too far inside. Close pitch, though.
Yeah, front door breaking ball and almost hit Barajas, who was inching out of the plate. And man, if he just snaps it a little bit harder, that's a cold strike 3. Barajas, nothing he could do about it. A really tough at bat for him, lefty-lefty.
We've seen Barajas go down looking before, that's for sure. 1-2. Swing, ground ball, going to be a tough play for Vandegrift. He slides to make the stop, gets up and makes the throw. What a play.
Great job. I know he's shading a little bit towards second for the double play opportunity, so that's a really tough play to get over and make. But luckily, Junior Barajas, a pretty slow-moving catcher, so he's able to get the out, no problem.
Had a lot of ground to cover it, and he's been with the Bucs, but they've been on the road so much that he really hasn't played much here at this park, reacting to the ball on this turf.
Yeah, luckily Chinooks have the same type of turf that the Bucs play on. We've played out there a good bit, so he should be used to it. But yeah, like you said, not a lot of games here in Mulcahy.
So now Hefner at third and Stolga at second after the advance. As Hayes fouls off the first pitch, a lot of foul balls, early on, but most of them, other than that one from Barajas, just straight back, not close to being in fair territory. Like you said, just late on the fastball. Owen Hayes, the batter. Rummery trying to end things in the first with him. And another soft foul tip.
Great job by Rummery. Like I said, pitching is soft, weak contact. Pilots have not really showed that they can find that ability to hit pitches by Garvey Rummery. Hit by pitch and a walk. So for Garvey, he's got to trust his stuff. He's ahead 0-2. Can get out of this inning with less than 20 pitches. That'd be great.
No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with 2 on. The lefty brings it. Just a bit too high.
And good discipline early from the Pilots.
Yep.
Good pitches from Garvey, I would say, for 0-2 especially. He doesn't want to be laying it over the plate, especially if he's a heavy fastball pitcher. It's the last thing you want to do 0-2.
100%. Still looking for his first strikeout. Will he get it here? 1-2. Instead, poked out to Vandegrift. This is a much easier play as the ball finds his glove on a soft liner, and Rummery gets out of a little bit of a jam. No runs for the Pilots in the first. The Bucs coming up to the plate when we come back. Welcome back. Will Hopkins, Vic Maslia here with you. Bucs looking to get the scoring started in Game 1 of the first round of the ABL playoffs. After a 0 in the top of the first from the Pilots, Carlone, Lamb, and Callahan coming up. We'll quickly set the defense for the Pilots. Stewart pitching to Junior Barajas with Owen Hayes at first, Troy Sanders at second, Luke Hefner at short, and Chase Knight at third, with Dylan Marks in left, Logan Sanders in center, and Luke Stolga in right field. Cole Carlone 2 for 4 against Tyler Stewart. This Stewart's 4th time against the Bucs, and as we mentioned, his last time was the worst of the previous 3. Starts Carlone off with a strike. 3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned. That was back on the 12th, and a 9-1 Bucs win in Game 1 of the Mayor's Cup. Carlone comes up empty, now down 0-2.
Carlone 3 for 5 in the game against the Miners a couple days ago to end this season. Had 2 singles and a double, plated 1 run, and scored once.
Hits this one on the ground, up the middle, and off the glove of a diving Hefner. It'll be a base hit for Cole Carlone. Good start for the Bucs offensively.
Yep, and that average 347 coming into this game is only going up now that it's the playoffs, and he's just an absolute wrecking ball to have on the offensive side. Like I said, 3 for 5 the other day with a double and the 2 singles. Scored a run and drove in a run as well, and had a walk too, so he just found himself on base every single at bat almost.
That 347 average, taking the ABL regular season crown over Chase Wilcox by 14 points. Lamb shows bunt, pulls it away wisely as the pitch is the ball. And over at first base, Wyatt Halverson, the Bucs pitcher, serving as the first base coach. Coach Austin Dunham departing to get back to school, where he's a teacher and a pitching coach. So a lot of schools around the country getting started here shortly. So unfortunately, he has to go. And Halverson over there at first. We'll see how things kind of change in terms of who's in charge of the bullpen and things like that. But Halverson over at first. Ball and no strikes to the right fielder. Takes another one low, and Carlone with a delayed steal is going to get over there easily. Although they're going to send him back. I wonder, are they saying that Lamb didn't get out of the way? I can't imagine what this could be for, unless they're saying that Lamb purposefully kicked it or something after the bounce. I can't really imagine that being the case. He just stood in the batter's box.
Yeah,
he didn't move an inch.
And that's a great read by Carlone. I don't even know if he's going on the play. I don't think he was going on the play. I think he just read it really well in the dirt.
I'm really confused right now.
Yeah, that's a shocker. And we have this little break. Lamb did not play 2 days ago. It's weird to not see him in the lineup.
Did catch the day before, so maybe getting some rest. And I think Coach Springman probably telling home plate umpire Bob Melms, excuse me, can you at least chat with your colleagues to see if they saw it any differently? And whatever he's arguing for didn't work. And really an unfortunate break for the Bucs that Carlone's not at second base.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great read. I'm not sure, again, if it was just a delayed steal and Bucs got lucky that the ball dribbled away for Barajas, but to me it looked like Carlone saw it in the dirt and immediately read it well, so big break for the Pilots.
Another one low, 3-0 now. Lamb only faced off against Stewart in the most recent matchup on July 12th, a single and a double. So good luck for Lamb against him, and that could be what's kind of spooking Tyler Stewart right now from throwing a ball over the plate. Check on Carlone. He's back standing.
Oh, hopefully that fires up the Bucs a little bit. Carlone knows that he should be at second base. The whole dugout does too, and hopefully Springman and the Bucs use that to their advantage here. With the 3-0 count, confident Carlone's going to be at second base either way.
3-0, and that's a good pitch on the outside corner. Even with a green light, no batter's going to be swinging at that, or at least they shouldn't be. And as crazy it is to say, even on first base, you're almost in scoring position with Andrew Lamb at the plate.
Yeah.
The doubles machine.
Gap to gap. Carlone should be able to read it well. Usually hits behind him, or in front of him.
And that misses, so he does end up getting to second base. In the end, a little bit of a weird situation for him to end up there, but in the end, it's just a walk. So Carlone at second, Lamb at first, no outs here in the first. And with these two guys on and no outs, you almost feel like you have to cash this in.
Yeah, and the Bucs don't necessarily need a 6 spot like we've seen them do a handful of times, but a crooked number would be great.
But like you said in the opening, couple runs here, couple runs there, and with Garvey Brumry on the mound, you'd think that would be enough, but would also love to just shoot any hope that the Pilots have. Ryan Callahan takes the ball outside.
And well, if the Bucs come out of this inning not getting a run, that's got to feel great for the Pilots, especially Stewart. They come out of it with just 1 run, still got to feel good for the Pilots. But you come out of this with 2 runs, 3 runs, then the Pilots start to get a little bit antsy, even if they can stop the bleeding.
1-0 to Callahan. That's a called strike. Guess it caught the inside corner. Callahan kind of ducking out of the way like it was too far inside. Callahan also 2 for 4, like Carlone against Stewart. All the top 3 in the order for the Bucs with 2 hits against him. 8 for 27 is the full lineup as Callahan lays one down. Stewart makes the play to first, but Callahan does his job moving over both runners with the sacrifice.
Yeah, great job. Did your job. That's exactly what the Bucs need, and now 2 in scoring position, just 1 out.
Brings up Tommy Eisenstadt. First pitch to Eisenstadt. He swings and misses. Infield is in here, looking to go home.
Yeah, early on in the game, want to save those precious runs. Do not blame the Pilots at all for that.
Every run just a little bit more meaningful here in the playoffs. Eisenstadt swings at this one, lines it right under a leaping Halverson, unfortunately foul.
Bucs just need a base hit. Eisenstadt has been an extra base hits machine this past week, but needs to go back to his true roots, and all we need is a base hit. 2 for 5 in the game a couple days ago versus the Pilots. Scored a run, drove in 2, so he was all over the place.
That's in the dirt, good eye.
A good stop by Barajas. That one pretty straight up, but still. If it feeds through, Carlin scoring with ease. It's a large backstop.
One ball, 2 strikes. Puts it in play, back to Stewart, and now Carlone is stuck in no man's land. Looks to get back to third, and the tag's going to be applied, and now a chance at second. The Bucs get doubled up. What a way to end the inning. Tyler Stewart gets Carlone, and then Chase Knight at third makes the throw to get Lamb, and the Bucs have that opportunity go to waste. Scoreless after 1. We'll be back shortly for the second. Welcome back for the top of the second inning. Unfortunate play for the Bucs.
Yeah, just really want to get out of that inning with a run score. It all happened so fast, though, so I don't think the Pilots are super in that mindset of, oh, if they get runners on, we can get them out every single inning. There's still got to be a little bit of a worry that the Bucs are going to do a good job getting runners on base and potentially getting them in later in the game.
Called strike on Chase Knight. And now 2 high, 1-1. Definitely a missed opportunity. 2-1 now. Swinging a grounder to Vandegrift. He's been busy so far and flawless, the ground out.
Yep, just that weak contact, like I said. Righties hitting it opposite field, still a little bit late on that from Garvey. Not timing it up. Even some righties, too, hitting it on that side. Or, excuse me, lefties.
Now it brings up Jacob Coase. Called strike. That one fouled off around home plate.
And Garvey's just doing a good job of keeping that pace up. He's working pretty quickly against these batters. I really like it because he's not letting them settle in. And an easy way to get weak contact if the batter at the plate is just uncomfortable and kind of just flaring the bat out there. You give him some time and maybe hitches back a little bit and can put a good swing on it.
Tried to paint the outside corner. Not a bad pitch, 0-2 though.
No, not at all. And some of these pitches are pitches that a lot of ABL hitters will chase, but here we're in the playoffs, so everyone a little bit more disciplined out there.
Yep, not disciplined at all. Swing and a miss, strike 3. First strikeout for Garvey Rumry, and quickly 2 away.
Yep, and there's that strikeout stuff. We can see that from Garvey Rumry all day. But last inning, was able to get the ground out, a couple ground outs, excuse me, and then the line out. So, and it was a soft line out as well. So for Garvey, he could really go one of two ways, but we might see him utilize both. He could have 4 or 5 strikeouts and still a lot of pop flies, ground balls.
First pitch swinging, ground ball to the other side this time. First chance for Callahan at third base. A lightning quick 1-2-3 in the top of the second. The Bucs looking to make up for the mistake in the first with some runs when we come back. Bottom of the second inning, a very Garvey Rumry top of the second inning, I would say. 1-2-3 down went the Pilots. Super quickly, 2 ground balls and a strikeout. Now the backstop for the Bucs. Brody Briggs steps in. Briggs worked his way high up into the top 10 of the batting average list, finishing 8th at 277 for the regular season in the ABL. He swings at the first pitch, looking to go the other way, and that'll be out of play, foul. But for Briggs, that average only going in one direction and a very positive one. Briggs, a hitter that seems to be in the middle of a lot of the Bucs' biggest rallies. We'll see if he can get one started here. As Stewart misses in the dirt, and that's been his most common miss so far, I'd say, is low. Whereas we saw Rumry missing arm side in the first inning. We saw Stewart missing downstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Briggs fouls it off of himself.
And Briggs has just looked really good as of late, and his ability to just find himself on base either way is really impressive because he can hit it in the gap and send it to the wall. It has that power, but also it's just a singles machine, and able to flare it over the head of shortstops, second basemen, you name it.
Also has a good eye over there at the plate, and understandably so. You'd hope that your catcher has a good idea of the strike zone. For Briggs, 17 walks this year, tied for 4th on the team. To be fair, there's a lot of competition. A ground ball on the right side. Stewart lets it go by him. Troy Sanders charging, has to make a quick throw, and a good stretch by Owen Hayes.
Yeah, really good play over there, and Briggs is pretty fast, so you got to be quick.
A lot of balls hit to second base so far. We've seen Vandergrift make, what, 3-4 plays?
Yeah.
Three ground balls and a ball in the air?
3 ground balls, yep, and that line drive to him.
So now Max Ross making his return. We saw him play an inning or two defensively in the regular season finale against the Miners.
No at-bats, though.
Still working back from that shoulder injury at the time. And it was really bad timing because he's been swinging a super hot bat. I don't think he was expecting to come into that game, but with certain guys from the outfield pitching, kind of switched things around. He ended up playing out there with a hoodie on, and I don't think his shoulder was ready. If a ball was hit to him, he might have just underhanded back to the infield with the game not meaning anything for the Bucs. Luckily, nothing was hit his way, but should be all good to go now. Takes that one inside, and obviously not moving out of the way. We know he's more than willing to take a hit by pitch. Only faced off against Stewart in the season opener, June 6th. A ground out to second and a base on balls for Ross. No runs for the Bucs that day. As here's another chance at second, just like the first time they met. Troy Sanders makes his second consecutive play, and things moving along for both teams in the second inning.
Yeah, and a good job by Stewart. He could have gone to that. It would have been tough, but he's trusting his infielders, and Sanders makes another good play. I want a slow ground ball, and Ross has got a lot of speed, so you got to be quick.
Another guy with speed, Will Burns, and not only foot speed, but bat speed. He said he's been swinging the bat harder, and it's proven successful. 3 doubles last game, and just 3 of a ton of extra base hits we've seen out of him lately. Doubles, a triple mixed in there. Too far outside. Burns been great defensively all season, and now that bat is really starting to come around.
Yeah, and he deserves it. Played really well the first half of the season, just got into a little bit of a slump, but has definitely come out of it. And yeah, a couple of those extra base hits were off position players, but still got to feel really good.
3-1 in a good spot here, and he'd love to get a hit off of Stewart. Has struggled against him so far this season. Only man in the lineup, or one of the few in the lineup that has faced off against him 3 times. 0 for 6 with a walk. So would love to pick up his first at-bat, or first hit, excuse me. Swings and misses. Count runs full with 2 away. Here in the bottom of the second. No scoring from either side. 1 hit for the Bucs so far. Here comes a 3-2. And he just barely missed. Stewart was headed for the dugout, but instead Burns will head to first base.
Can't really blame him. That pitch looked really good on the outside part of the plate, and Burns might have gotten a little lucky there, but if anything, a hair or two off the plate, but I thought it got a piece of it. So Bucs get a little bit of a break, and Riley Hunsaker now with an opportunity with 2 down. But hey, the 2-out successes have just been amazing for the Bucs as of late, especially in the game against the Miners, and just as of late in general. Bucs have been scoring with 2 outs like it's no problem.
If Hunsaker can get something going with Burns at first base. Already second walk for Tyler Stewart, who had 7 coming in 29 innings.
Yeah.
So not sure how many more of those the Bucs will get, or maybe he's just not at his best today. So far pitching pretty well, though, other than that. Burns at first is going with the pitch. Hunsaker swings and misses. The throw down to second is way off, and luckily for the Pilots, Hefner got a teeny bit of leather on that. Otherwise, it'd be in center field.
Yeah, 100%, and Will Burns would have been at third base easily.
Instead, he stays at second. Picks up the stolen base. Not at all surprised to see him running. And now with 2 outs, he'll be going on the crack of the bat. A single from Hunsaker could give the Bucs their first lead.
Pilots outfielders plenty deep, too.
Hunsaker, another ground ball to Troy Sanders. A chance to make all 3 outs this inning. That's exactly what he does. Burns left stranded at second. Still zeros for both sides through 2 innings here at Mulcahy Stadium. Welcome back. Third inning, no runs for either side so far as Garvey Rummery comes out for his third inning of work. 27 pitches so far for the lefty. He'll face 9, 1, and 2. Troy Sanders, Dylan Marks, and Luke Hefner. Troy Sanders, after making 3 plays at second base just last half inning, not enough action for him, I guess. He's got to come up to the plate.
No, he's probably asking, what do you guys want me to do here?
The Bucs would love for him to pop it up, and that's exactly what he does. He hits it to his counterpart, and right on the edge of the turf and the grass, Vandegrift makes the play.
Definitely not as much wind as we saw in Matsu during that final game, and God, it was just crazy what we saw out there. Wind doing crazy tricks to the ball and some weird plays out there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody on this Bucs defense will be complaining. It's not as bad as it was then. The flags are blowing, though.
Yeah.
It's out towards left field, so righties will be excited about that. And here's a righty at the plate, Dylan Marks, as Rummery starts him with a strike. Marks grounded out his first time to the plate, as Rummery misses to even the count. After Marks, it'll be Hefner, and then hopefully back to the Bucs bats.
You know that Garvey really wants to see Hefner again, and he will obviously see Hefner again, but he really wants to see Stolga too, who he walked, and just trying to get those guys out and show him what he really got.
Hot shot into right center field. It looks like it'll be Andrew Lamb, and it is. Day off for him defensively, and then a day off for the Bucs, no problems.
So now Hefner, remember, it was the second or third pitch he saw hit him. It didn't get him too bad, and what I mean by that is Garvey, it wasn't a horrible pitch from him. Just working him inside, Hefner standing pretty close to the plate. Looking at him now, not super close, maybe backed off a little bit.
Maybe it worked. He tries the left side, a pause, and then a couple of steps in for Hunsaker, and he makes the play. Boy, is Garvey Rummery working quickly, sending it back to the Bucs bats when we come back. Both pitchers working quickly, already in the bottom of the third inning after a start just a few minutes, or a minute or so after 4 o'clock. It'll be Rob Vandegrift and then back to the top, Cole Carlone and Andrew Lamb. And for Vandegrift, he showed up 2 weeks ago, probably not aware of how well the team is doing, and then you get it figured out pretty quickly, and here you are starting in the playoffs.
Yeah, and for him, just got to keep up the same thing that he's been doing, called strike there, but like I was saying, 2 for 5 in the last game versus the Miners, 2 runs scored, and has been struggling just a little bit, but like you said, just got here.
I think for the Bucs, honestly, the offense has been doing so well. They're not asking a ton of him, putting him in the 9 hole.
Right.
They're just out of options at second base, so he just needs to do his job there, and so far today, he definitely has.
Yeah, no shade to him. He got up here very, not too long ago. So, like you just said, the Bucs don't need a ton of offensive production for him, but if they can, having a 9-hole hitter like that, I mean, who's going to stop the Bucs if 1 through 9 they're really hitting?
Especially with Carlone on deck, if you can load people on for him. Unfortunately, Vandegrift can't that time as he swings through a ball in the dirt.
Carlone base hit to start. Then they got Stewart a little bit uncomfortable, and unfortunately, Bucs not able to capitalize on that 2-on, 1-out opportunity. But now have a chance here, just 1 down and top of the order back up. But Stewart has looked really, really comfortable.
Yeah, first inning ended. Carlone was at third, Lamb was at second. with one out as he swings at the first pitch, trying the right side. Owen Hayes, a good stop, then bobbles it, but recovers in time to make the throw, and Carlone is limping past the first base bag.
Oh, no.
Not what you want to see. Wyatt Halverson over to check on him, as is the first base umpire, Nicholas Reynolds.
Just hope he didn't step on that bag really funny. See that happen sometimes? He's jogging it off now. Yeah, if it's anything too crazy, you don't see that happen, so looks like it should be just fine. Maybe some discomfort, but hopefully he'll be all right.
Doesn't have to play the field today, but can definitely expect him to start in the playoffs for the Bucs on the mound. And probably a couple of games at first base as well. We know he and Eisenstadt kind of platooning over there with the other one serving as a designated hitter. So hopefully we'll see Carlone up for his next at-bat, and hopefully no problems over there as Lamb steps in and takes the ball. And as I was saying, Lamb was at second, Carlone was at third with one out. And with Eisenstadt to the plate, hitting a comebacker to Tyler Stewart, they've got both Carlone scrambling from third and then Lamb trying to get back into second. Double play ended the inning on the fielder's choice. As Lamb tips this into Barajas' mitt. Both pitchers really working quickly, especially the second and third innings so far. Maybe Andrew Lamb can put a stop to that. A little two-out rally. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lamb watches another one in there.
Looked like Carlone was pointing at his quad a little bit. He just got tight running to first base. I think he's still in the dugout, but I'm assuming, yeah, he's going to make that trip to the clubhouse, just get checked out, just be safe.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Andrew Lamb. Check swing, and the home plate umpire, Bob Melm, says he went around without an appeal. So that will do it for the Bucs in the bottom of the third inning. Breezing just 35 minutes in as we head to the fourth. Welcome back to the top of the fourth inning where Vic will have your play-by-play. But first, when things were wrapping up in the third inning, getting a little bit chippy between these two rivals.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think it was an exchange between Lamb and Barajas, but we're not really privy to that down here. But the home plate umpire separating that pretty quickly from getting out of hand, and hopefully won't say anything too crazy. Lamb is a super easygoing, nice guy, so definitely would have said something crazy. But back to baseball. Luke Stolga leads things off, takes that one low and away from Garvey Rummery. Back-to-back 1-2-3 innings, settled in very nicely and has to do so. Stewart is pitching really, really good on the other end, too, for the Pilots. Popped up, foul from Stolga. Reached base with a walk. In his first at-bat back in the first inning, actually reached second base. That was the 0-1 offering and swung on and missed by Stolga. Garvey retired Luke Hefner last inning to end the inning after hitting him the pitch back in the first, trying to do the same here, and it will not happen just outside of the outreached arm of Will Burns, and a base hit, first base hit for the Pilots, and it's Luke Stolga delivering that one.
Burns did all he could off the bat. I thought it was definitely destined for left field, but Burns was able to give a run at it as it was lined a little bit more softly than I thought, but still just a few inches beyond his outstretched glove.
Cole Carlone jogging down to the bullpen. seeing if that leg is okay, where he was limping a little bit after that at bat. Looks okay now running. Trainer is watching him pretty closely, as well as Sean Maltby, our GM, making sure he's okay to continue. Of course, he's the designated hitter, so this is great that they get to do this. Junior Barajas at the plate. Big cut and a miss at that one. Missed every stitch of it.
Yeah, if he was in the field playing first base even, I mean, he wouldn't have this opportunity to get checked out, run around. He'd be having to play his position right now, or maybe would have been subbed out.
One on, nobody out. First base hit for the Pilots. Ground ball out to second. Vandegrift, nice flip to second onto first, and
hit the umpire, and he called time right after it hit his hip. Unreal play by Vandegrift to judge that off the umpire and barehanded, but the home plate umpire called time as soon as it hit him.
Isn't the umpire
not home plate
umpire is a part of the game? I'm not mistaken.
Well, that's not how Daryl Cooper saw it, apparently, and in fairness to the Pilots, if they put his hands up, then Barajas shouldn't have to be expected to run through first base. But at the same time, if Vandegrift's going to field that and it hits the umpire and then goes a different direction, you'd be probably trying to make the argument that it should be a do-over.
So goofy play. I noticed the redirection, but I didn't necessarily see that happen. Not the best job getting around that baseball, because I will say he tried to just stand there and move his body, but if he's running out of the way of it, he's going to get out, because that was a slow looping line drive, so I'm going to have to give that an error on the umpire for not getting out of the way, to be totally honest with you.
Wait, they put Barajas at first base?
That's what I'm confused about. I have no idea why he'd be at first.
It's awarded a single, I guess. That's unreal.
I always thought that the umpire was a part of the game. The batter now is Owen Hayes. He bats with 2 on and nobody out.
That is a super unfortunate break for the Bucs, especially considering how well Vandegrift managed that ball.
So Garvey, a little bit of a jam here in the 4th inning. Delivers to Hayes in the dirt. Garvey had a jam back in the 1st inning, 2nd and 3rd. Was 1st and 2nd, nobody out, then 2nd and 3rd with 1 down. Still has the force out here. We'll see if the Pilots try to send someone in motion. Next one, popped up out of play, foul. He's ahead.
Riley Hunsaker's mom saying that at least one of them should be out. We definitely agree.
And the way it was hit, I don't know if Barajas started slowing down, but it looked like they were going to have the double play, but I'm assuming that he was slowing down.
At least out at second.
One ball, 2 strikes to Owen Hayes. Line out to Vandegrift at second in his first at-bat. Swung on and missed. Garvey speeds him up with a fastball in the outer half. Definitely had a couple extra miles per hour on that baby.
Such a big strikeout with 2 on and nobody out. Now a ground ball could get you out of this. We talk about Rumry as not being the biggest strikeout pitcher, but when he needs to get one, he's more than able.
In just 42 pitches, those 2nd and 3rd frames really helped his pitch count a lot after almost a 20-pitch first inning, which really isn't that bad to begin with. Chase Knight, the batter. Fouls that one back, and the single from Stolga on the first couple pitches, the base hit, I guess, for Barajas, that was first couple pitches too, so not long at bats this inning, and has helped out his case. Bullpen has started buzzing a little bit. Guys going out there stretching, but nothing crazy. 0-1. That one's downstairs, and not surprising, Garvey has pitched really well, but Coach Montez has a short leash. We saw that displayed in the later half of the regular season up until now, so wouldn't be surprised to see if Garvey struggles this inning. Could be an early pitcher change, but hopefully that's not the case, and he can get out of this no problem. 1-1. Nice breaking ball, called strike. Looked like the slider bearing away from the batter, Chase Knight.
Absolute beauty. Impossible for Knight to pull the trigger on that. And like you talked about with Coach Montez, playoff games always going to be managed a little bit tighter, especially with the pitchers.
Ahead on Knight, trying to retire him, get the second out. The pitch, cold strike 3. On the outside part of the plate, Rumry displaying how good of a strikeout pitcher he can be. Back-to-back Ks, one swinging, one looking. 2 down for Jacob Coase, who struck out swinging and was actually Garvey Rumry's first victim.
When I think of Garvey Rumry as a pitcher, the word that comes to mind is versatile. He can get ground balls, he can get fly balls, he can get strikeouts, no matter what he's doing, we don't typically see hard contact from these batters, and we see a lot of outs, and that's been the case so far, even with a little bit of traffic.
First pitch, foul tipped into the mid of Brody Briggs. And first inning, 2 ground balls. Second inning, 2 ground balls. Last inning, all 3 flyouts. And this inning, 2 strikeouts. So versatile is a great word to use for him. 2 down now, ahead in the count, 0-1. Ground ball softly hit out to Vandegrift. Got it to go. Flip to first and in time. Rummery takes care of the Pilots. 2 base hits is no problem for the pitcher, Garvey Rummery. We head to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Still no score in Anchorage. The Bucs bats coming up when we come back. Welcome back. Still no score here. The Bucs trying to find some magic off of Tyler Stewart, who has looked really good.
Yeah, he sure has. I mean, for the Pilots, giving up over 7 runs a game in this 11-game losing streak, and watching this game, how it's going, you wouldn't know it, but in fairness, Stewart hasn't pitched in a long, long time. It was the 19th of July the last time he pitched, and the Pilots won that game 1-0, so it hasn't been his fault that they haven't been winning many games.
Not his fault at all. And it might not be his fault at all if the Pilots can't find a run. But the Bucs and Ryan Callahan sends this deep into the gap, and that's going to get past Dylan Marks. Callahan motoring his way into second base. He's going to hold up there for a leadoff double. Ryan Callahan gets it started, and the Pilots left with some questions here.
Yeah, some questions for sure. Sorry for cutting you off there, but a great way to start a rally if you're Ryan Callahan, and we keep talking about it over this last week and a half. No extra base hits, and then just out of nowhere, it's coming, and it's coming thick and fast from Ryan Callahan. Extra base hit after extra base hit.
That has just been what is going on for the Bucs this past week. Extra base hit palooza for everyone on the team. Even Tommy Eisenstadt having to triple out in the Chugiak, but he's going to square to bunt, playing a little selfless, and fortunately fouls that out of play.
And we've seen the Bucs bunt a lot this season, but I think that in the playoffs you'll see it more. I mean, small ball is the name of the game often. A lot of people discuss whether you should play the same way or change things up a little bit, but we know that through all levels of baseball, people run more in the postseason.
0-1 misses outside to Eisenstadt. In his last at-bat, a fielder's choice, which resulted in a double play. That got Carlone out at third and then Lamb out at second base. So hopefully the Bucs have a better outcome here with the leadoff runner, and Ryan Callahan at second base. Middle of the order up. Not the guys you want to face with a runner in scoring position. Ball misses up and away. Callahan using all parts of the field. Seen him pull the ball. We've also seen him go away with a lot. Before his extra base hit outbreak, we were seeing him use all parts of the field, and still seeing him do that with the extra base hits. But that ball he pulled for a home run. Whew. Every stitch of that baseball. 2-1. Almost hit Eisenstadt. 3 balls, 1 strike.
If Eisenstadt can go the other way on the ground, he should have a base hit. Chase Knight pretty close to that third base bag, and Hefner having to hold off Callahan. A pretty big hole over there on the ground.
Eisenstadt does have that ability. 3-1 just gets a piece of it. Game 1 of the first round. Whoever takes 2 out of the 3 will head to the championship series. Face either the Miners or the Oilers. That game's out in Palmer, Alaska. Miners being the home team for that game. 3-2 pitch. Popped up, shallow left field. Outgoing is Chase Knight. That's trouble, but it's a foul ball.
Oof. That was so close. If we were playing on natural grass and there was chalk, it might have been easier to see. Tough to see when even on the white parts, the pellets are black. But that couldn't have been more than a couple inches away from that foul line. We need some of that Hawkeye technology that you see to rule lines in tennis and volleyball and things like that. And talking about that Miners-Oilers game, 2-0. Miners on top in the bottom of the third inning. Runs coming on a Riker Scouse single and a Kyle McCausland sac fly.
So Eisenstadt with some new life. 3-2, hammered into center field, but it's right in line with Logan Sanders, who makes the grab for out number 1. Fortunately for the Bucs, Eisenstadt hitting it hard, but right at the center fielder, so 1 down.
Yeah, great job by Callahan to take his couple of steps in case it got down, but then diagnose that there was going to be no problems for Sanders in center field and that he'd need to get back to second. Would have hated to see another double play with Eisenstadt at the plate.
So that'll bring up Brody Briggs. His first at bat in the second, grounded out to the second baseman, Troy Sanders. Ground out over there would help a little bit, but it would make it 2 outs if it resulted in an out.
Yeah, I think with 1 out now and Callahan at second, Briggs will be looking more for a base hit than to just get Callahan over to third, and he's more than capable. 12 runs batted in on the season, and like we mentioned, the average shooting way up.
Briggs has been a great guy to have. One of the best catcher in the ABL, both defensively and offensively. He's been really solid behind home plate and calls great games. We've heard that from a number of pitchers, and on the other side, manufactures base hits and can score runs.
And plays a lot.
Yeah. Didn't think so coming into this, but from what we're hearing, might just catch all of these games for the postseason. 0-1 in the dirt, good stop by Barajas.
And he doesn't normally seem like he's trying to do too much at the plate. Has solid, smooth swings on these balls and has a great eye as well. Don't really see him expand outside the zone.
Stewart with a runner aboard to worry about at second base. Takes a look at Callahan. 1-1. Swung on and missed from Brody Briggs. Chased a pitch on the outer half. Looked like something cutting away from him.
Yeah, of course, right when I say it doesn't expand the zone. And also want to thank Riley's mom again, I guess our rules analyst, saying that that play was actually umpired exactly how it should have been.
Thank you very much. Rules differ between all levels, and I was going back to my days as being a Little League umpire, and I always remembered if the ball hit off me, it was still in play. 1-2, and the dirt gets away. Callahan has a great jump. Barajas is going to have to put it into his back pocket. The first and only run for the Bucs, standing 90 feet away.
And that's a huge deal. That is a huge deal, especially in a playoff game where every run is so valuable. Having a runner at third with just 1 out, sac fly could do it. Infield coming in.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Everyone on the edge of the dirt. Nice stop by Barajas in the dirt.
And with first base open and the Pilots maybe wanting to try to turn 2 to end this inning, wouldn't be surprised if Briggs does not get a great pitch to hit here.
Count runs full. This time it's to Brody Briggs. Payoff in the dirt, ball 4. Briggs does his job. Makes it first and third, but with 1 out, that will make the infielders retreat a little bit, and they will play a double play depth. But first, it looks like Jordan Brink's going to have a word with Tyler Stewart.
Yep, that looks to be the case. Don't see anybody in the Pilots bullpen, so I think just having a chat with Stewart and understand kind of why that wasn't a great pitch to Brody Briggs. Want to put the double play in order, but now you bring up Max Ross, who's more than capable of driving in runs. Not only does he have a hot bat, but all season, 17 RBIs in just 25 games. That's some amazing numbers. And he's also a left-handed hitter and a speedster, so would not be an easy guy to double up.
Yeah, and Ross, like you just said, does not have nearly as many at-bats as the guys at the top, like Carlone, Burns, Hankins, Eisenstadt, all those guys. But I will say, those RBIs speak for themselves, and finds himself with runners on a lot and delivers a lot.
His RBIs per at-bat would be the highest on the team for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Guys with 30 more at-bats than him or even more, just a
probably
couple more RBIs.
Castillo with 8 RBIs in those minimal at-bats.
Yeah, it would be Castillo.
Still
Ross second.
And he squares to bunt. He lays it down. Coming home is Callahan. And one play, and it's to first. Stewart makes it, but a run comes home. It's 1-0 Bucs.
Great ABC playoff baseball from the Bucs. Ross almost bunting it too hard to Stewart, who had to look at home, but realized that he wasn't going to have a chance at Callahan, who was busting it down the line towards home plate and just manufacturing a run. And hey, that wild pitch really coming back to bite.
And what also is coming back to maybe haunt the Pilots is that discussion on the mound. Sanagorski was able to have a word with Max Ross, set up that sack bunt, and unfortunately I'm seeing Cole Carlone not in baseball pants heading back to the dugout, and he's got a serious limp. I think he might be out of this ball game.
That is the last thing that you want to see if you're the Bucs.
Really unfortunate, yeah. Definitely a substantial limp he has. Now back at the plate, it's Will Burns. Takes another ball, 2-0.
And in all honesty, his first trip to the plate on that base hit, I didn't think he ran down the line as quickly as he normally does, but by the time I looked and really started looking at him, he seemed to be fine, and then he took a base on a wild pitch, so.
2-0 is hammered into center field, coming on Sanders, and he makes the basket grab for out number 3. But the Bucs do get one run. Ryan Callahan comes to score off a sacrifice bunt from Max Ross. The score is 1-0. The Bucs lead as we head into the 5th. Welcome back. Top half of the 5th. The Bucs got a run. It's 1-0, but unfortunately Carlone has taken off those baseball pants and is in some shorts, and with that considerable limp, we're probably safely to say that he will not be batting and will be out of this game for at least today, but hoping somehow, some way he can make a return.
Yeah, especially on the mound too.
Yeah, Bucs need him. Both aspects. So now at the plate, Logan Sanders facing off against Garvey Rummery. Called strike. Last inning, Garvey, some unfortunate luck. Base hit, leadoff hit to Stolga, but then that Barajas play hit off the umpire. Would have been at least one out, maybe even a double play, but resulted in another base hit. Just misses off the plate.
Yeah, super close to getting that call. And with the way the playoffs are formatted, it's not like the MLB with a ton of off days where you can just roll with 3 starters. The Bucs need everyone. And if Carlone can't pitch, that'd be a major problem. But for now, we'll focus on this one, and the Bucs just looking to pick up this win. I'll have to go the rest of the way without their leadoff hitter.
Garvey had one too. That one misses outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And Vic and I were talking during the break about who would be the designated hitter to replace him because there's just not a deep bench right now.
2-2's in the dirt. I said Brett Castillo maybe. He's done a good job in limited at-bats, like we said, bringing in runs. Full count pitch. Just gets a piece of it foul. Not a lot of full count pitches from Garvey Rummery in this whole season in general.
Castillo, Maltby, and Enyard are really your only options.
Castillo's the most recent bat, or maybe Maltby that we've seen. 3-2 again. Misses outside. Another walk from Garvey Rummery, not really what you were used to seeing. It's a second walk today, though.
Yeah, not used to seeing it at all. Like you said, not a lot of 3-ball counts. He's kept his pitch count pretty low. Bucs looking for their first double play. Almost had one, except for that ball hitting the second base umpire, Darryl Cooper, but would love one here. I know we say it every time someone's aboard, but in the playoffs, turning 2 is just even bigger than it is in the regular season.
To our defense, the Bucs haven't really turned a lot of double plays this season with the opportunities that they've had. Now squaring is Sanders, and Briggs will throw or fake the throw back. Troy Sanders trying to move over to his brother Logan Sanders. Not a bad idea playing small ball. Bucs are only up by 1.
We know Briggs loves making that throw behind the runner at first.
1 ball, no strike. We'll see how Garvey attacks the other Sanders brothers. He's going to try to pick off Logan, who's in there safely. It's been Jeremiah Arnett tossing in the bullpen. We've seen him a ton of times, and knowing that he'll be gone soon, maybe the Bucs just trying to use the last of him. Garvey a long look at Logan Sanders. Now back to the plate. That one misses upstairs. And now Monty's going to come have a quick word with Garvey Rummery. We'll be buying some time for Jeremiah Arnett. Monty did not travel with the team in their last away game versus the Miners, dealing with some injuries of himself, but back here in full force and going to try to talk to Garvey Rummery, get him settled back down.
Yeah, the injury bug is contagious, and everyone is a possibility to catch it, even the Bucs pitching coach.
It's also Chad Gurney walking around in the bullpen as well. Both guys have the ability to go multiple innings. Gurney mainly uses a long reliever now. Arnett can easily go 2-3 innings and has started a game too. So the meeting breaks up. Montez going to return back to his stoop, and Garvey Rummery going to try to get Troy Sanders out. He's down the count 2-0. Ground ball would do the trick, but Sanders has been squaring both times.
And if you're Rummery, if he's squaring, you got to just still throw it over the plate and take your out at first base. Yes, there'd be a runner in scoring position, but you got to trust yourself to face the next couple guys.
Squares again, and he went around. That's going to be into the mitt of Brody Briggs. Don't think he got a piece of it. That's just going to be a swinging strike, but a big break for Garvey Rummery, 2-1.
Yeah, and for someone that's trying to sacrifice, he's way too worried about getting to first base. Troy Sanders, I would think, needs to focus on just getting the ball down.
2-1, squares again. His chops it foul, and now 2 strikes.
That time he stayed in the box a lot longer, focusing on trying to get it down before he started running. And now with 2 strikes, I'd love for him to bunt again. You know how I feel about that.
Seen it before, a couple times before in ABL play, so not totally unfamiliar with it. We'll see how much Rich Price trusts Troy Sanders.
He was looking to Coach Price for some signs, and I don't think they ever came.
2 balls, 2 strikes. We'll see what that means for Troy Sanders. He does not square and fouls this one straight back.
Common saying in the playoffs, every base runner's a rally. Even having just a guy on first base. So much more tense.
2-2 misses downstairs. Another full count. This time it's to the other Sanders brother. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Troy Sanders awaiting. Now the pitch. Just gets a piece of it foul. Another competitive pitch by Rummery. Looking to avoid his third base on balls.
Sanders is making it tough on him. Not going down without a fight. For Rummery, really do not want to give up another walk. Can't give in here.
Past 60 pitches now here in the 5th. 3-2. Popped him up. Shallow left field going out Will Burns. He's going to call everyone off and make the grab for out number 1. So the long battle comes to an end. Garvey Rummery is the man on top. Still at first is Logan Sanders, but one down for the top of the order, Dylan Marks.
And huge for Rummery to stay in that battle, not give in and miss with one. Make these pilots put the ball in play and get a hit off you. People have struggled to do that all season against Garvey Rummery. Just 12 hits in 28 and 2/3 innings pitched. So even when the ball's in play, it's usually a good thing for him and the Bucs defensively.
First pitch to Marks is fouled back. He grounded out to Rob Vandergrift at second, then flew out to right field. Andrew Lamb got that one. In need of a ground ball, Dylan Marks is pretty fast, though, so it's going to have to be a quick turn from the middle infield. 0-1, just a bit off the plate. A good pitch by Rummery.
Really good pitch. Did not miss by much at all.
Tomorrow the Pilots will be the home team here. And if there is a Game 3, the Bucs will be the home team. Fouled back again by Marks.
And even if the Pilots didn't play their home games at Mulcahy Stadium, it would still be at Mulcahy Stadium.
Right.
The higher seed gets to host all three, just batting first in Game 2.
Which is how it should be. Garvey ahead, 1-2, trying to stay in ahead. Out again, a good fight from these Pilots batters, especially lower half of the order into the top half now, Dylan Marks. But Logan Sanders gave him a run for his money. Troy Sanders as well. Now Dylan Marks.
You've seen some games where the Bucs have had over 10, even 15 strikeouts against these Pilots. Today doesn't seem like it's going to be one of those days.
1-2 misses outside for Garvey. Just the 3 strikeouts, and we know Garvey not to be a only strikeout type of pitcher, so it's not surprising about that fact, but you can definitely tell the Pilots at bats, they really are putting up fights, and it's tough to strike them out. 2-2. Cold strike 3, never mind. Garvey Rummery paints it on the outside part of the plate.
That's been his pitch so far today, whether it's righties or lefties. Throwing that ball that's coming in just a little bit, breaking ball on the outside, and just painting that arm side corner, whether it's outside to a righty or inside to a lefty.
So that leadoff walk almost about to go to waste if Garvey Rummery can take care of Luke Hefner. Lefty stands in. The pitch from Garvey is grounded out to Rob Vandergrift. He'll go to first and make the third out. Good job by Rummery. Strands one at first base in Logan Sanders. That sends us to the bottom half of the 5th. Still a 1-0 lead for the Bucs. Welcome back, bottom half of the 5th inning, and we were hoping that Tyler Stewart would have to come out of the game eventually, and he does. He gives it up for Drew Welk, who comes onto the mound, and just over 60 pitches for Stewart, but we kind of knew going into it he might not pitch that many. And for Drew Welk, 8 appearance in his 7 previous, 4 games started, and the rest out of the bullpen, I assume. 2-2, 27 and a 2/3 innings pitched, 19 hits, and 8 earned runs, good for a 2.60 ERA. First batter he faces is Riley Hunsaker, and he starts him with a strike.
Stewart was dealing, but just doesn't normally go super high in his pitch count, and good for the Bucs. Would rather face someone else with just the 1 run. He last pitched just a few days ago on the 29th. As there's a called strike. It was 6 innings for him, 6 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned. Has only faced the Bucs once. That was a little while ago, back in June on the 18th. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs.
And ahead of Riley Hunsaker here, the 0-2 is grounded out to first base, so Hayes will take it himself, 1 down.
Yeah, quick out for Welk on Hunsaker. Vandergrift, and then back to the top. And like you said, it's like it'll be Adam Enyart.
Yeah. And going back to that RBI sack bunt from Max Ross, now 18 RBIs. Callahan now 19 coming into this game, but still a 3-way tie. Max Ross is in it with considerably less at-bats. Another called strike, and Drew Welk is really filling up the zone here.
He sure is, and that's what you want when you open that bullpen door. You want your guys to come in and throw strikes.
0-1 misses. Ooh, that one generous call.
Yeah, we saw some
Outside
from
part.
Rumry that were closer than that.
Yeah, definitely. And a slider, too, or an off-speed pitch in general.
Going
so
away, yeah.
It's really tough to hit if you're Vandergrift. Now down 0-2, and that almost hit him.
Sure did.
And for Welk, one of the best ERAs on the team, Peyton Allen, who just has 3 starts, 9 appearances, has a 1.82. But besides that, for guys that are at the top, I guess in Tyler Stewart with a 2.17, he's right up there for best ERA. That one looked like the same exact pitch as the one that was a called strike 2 pitches ago, and now it's a ball for Rob Vandergrift. Maybe a makeup call?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, a pitch in the same spot shouldn't be a strike 50% of the time. It's either a strike or a ball.
2-2. Right down Broadway, strike 3. Vandergrift down on strikes again, this time looking quickly 2 down for Welk, and it will be Adam Enyart to come in for Cole Carlone. Hopefully Carlone is going to be okay, but based off of what we saw, I don't know, and how quickly this playoff stint lasts, you just never know.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate for the Bucs. Not just his hitting abilities leading the league in average, but we know what he's capable of on the mound, and you just hope for the best.
And at least he is the designated hitter, so Enyart will not have to play in the field, which could be important after this first pitch is a called strike. Another great breaking ball from Welk, but if Enyart is needed to pitch, won't be too tired from batting and playing into the field, and it will help a little bit and just take away the designated hitter spot. That one way away, and that's the first ball, pretty sure, for Drew Welk that he's thrown. Or I guess the second one, that probably should have been a called strike if the other one was. First wild pitch, I would say, from Drew Welk. This next one, a ground ball towards first, but it's foul.
Yeah, Welk's been pounding the zone, and talking about some of those ERAs on the Pilots, they have some good pitching. Their biggest problem this year has definitely been on the other side.
Yeah, just a lethargic offense at times, but have showcased that they can still score runs.
Usually comes in bunches, though.
Right. Had a big double-digit game versus the Oilers, but still lost. That one misses outside. It's like a 15, 16 runs scored by both teams around that.
I think they lost 16-12, 15-12, something like that, but in the first 7 games of that 11-game losing streak, just 5 runs.
Deuces wild for Enyart, 2-2. That one misses. Welk thinking that's also a strike. I'm guessing it's a little bit low because it was missing on the outside part of the plate for sure. Guess I shouldn't say for sure. Andrew Lamb waiting on deck. First a 3-2 pitch. Enyart grounds this one foul. Good fight.
Good fight, and for Enyart, the more pitches you can see, the better. Just coming into this game here in the 5th inning, getting up to game speed, and the best way to do that is to see more and more pitches. Obviously, nobody else facing Welk right now has faced him previously, but they've at least had a couple trips to the plate.
Another payoff pitch to come for Inyard. Welks set. Now the delivery hits this towards center field. That's going to get over the head of Troy Sanders. A base hit for Adam Inyard. How about that coming up cold off the bench?
I mean, that's just so difficult to do. Not only to get that hit, but to even get to the point where he can get that hit. Fouling pitches off, and like you said, coming cold off the bench. You never expect to come in as a pinch hitter this early in the game, and for all we know, Adam Enyart might be thinking more about coming in as a pitcher, and it was no problem for him. Put up an at-bat like it was his 5th of the day.
Yeah, and Andrew Lamb might be looking for blood here after that discourse between him and Junior Barajas, who definitely exchanged a couple of words just now. I don't know if it was anything too crazy. First pitch he sees in on the hands, fouls it away.
And Enyard is in Andrew Lamb's scoring position. That's what I'm going to start calling it.
Yep, and now's a good time for Lamb. Might be a little bit irritated from what he's hearing from Junior Barajas.
Finished the regular season with 14 doubles.
Not the type of guy you want to make mad with a runner aboard at first. Welk ahead 0-1. Next one, a tapper. Going to be a tough play. Chase Knight comes over and makes it easier than expected. Out number 3, the Bucs don't go down in order thanks to Adam Inyard's 2-out base knock, but just 4 batters is all Drew Welk needed to retire this side. We head to the 6th inning. Still 1-0 Bucs lead. Into the top half of this 6th inning, still 1-0 Bucs lead. Good job by Drew Welk, works around the 2-out base knock from Inyard. Looked really sharp besides that hit. Able to sit down the Bucs. And now Garvey Rumry back out there for the 6th inning. Had 70 pitches now. And he will face Luke Stolga to start, Junior Barajas, then Owen Hayes, the meat of the Pilots order. The lefty kicks and deals. Swing and a miss from Luke Stolga.
Stolga, one of the only 2 base hits for the Pilots, but really the only real base hit with the one off the bat of Barajas hitting the umpire, so he'll want to avenge that.
Foul tipped in the mitt. Rumry speeding up the bat of Luke Stolga, who can't catch up. Bullpen settled down a little bit. Garvey not really struggling, just a couple base runners here and there. 0-2, big swing and a miss. Climbs the ladder up and away with the fastball, and Rumry takes care of Stolga, no problem. 1 away.
That heater had some zip on it. Stolga's bat was never getting to that one up and away.
Now 5 strikeouts for Garvey Rumry, and like I said earlier, could see 4 or 5 Ks and the rest just weak contact, and that's pretty much what we've been seeing from him so far. Here's another weak contact. Barajas pops this one straight up. Eisenstadt gonna take that one as Garvey Rumry is his shadow puppet for it, just in case he's got another one he has to make, wants to be ready and has some practice. So a good job by Eisenstadt and Rumry.
Who said you have to be tense in the playoffs? Rumry obviously looking as cool and relaxed as anybody. That was pretty funny from him.
Maybe throwing some shade at Barajas, who was throwing shade at Andrew Lamb, acting like the pitcher's going to catch that weak pop-up. Maybe. That's just me speculating, though. Owen Hayes takes that one downstairs.
That strikeout and then the super weak contact right after another, that's the Garvey Rumry experience right there.
In 3 pitches on the strikeout and then just the 1 pitch on the pop. It's like I said, it's 2 different people, and showcased him right there and showcases it once again. Weak ground ball out to Eisenstadt, takes it himself. A record-setting quick inning from Garvey Rummery, and there's been plenty of those. A 1-2-3 as we head into the bottom half of the 6th inning. Nothing going for the Pilots, and the Bucs trying to add on to their 1-0 lead. Bottom half of the 6th inning. Will Hopkins, Vic Maslia here with you for Game 1 of the first round of the ABL playoffs. Number 1 seed Bucs taking on the number 4 seeded Glacier Pilots. Up in Palmer, Alaska, the Miners taking on the Oilers. That's the 2 seed Miners versus the 3 seed Oilers, and the Matsu Miners have a 3-0 lead against the Oilers in the top half of the 5th inning. Just thought we should let you guys know their game time's the same as ours for all 3 games of the first round. Ryan Callahan steps in against Drew Welk, who fires that one low for ball 1. Welk looked really good last inning, and a 1-2-3 spoiled by a base hit from Adam Inyard just recently coming into this ballgame.
Callahan, a good guy to start a rally. We saw that double to lead things off last time he was at the plate.
Came around to score, too. Pops this one up, foul ground. It's going to get out of play. And Gurney is warming up on the rubber now, so I would say officially warming up. And with a quick inning from Garvey, we're hoping to see him in the 7th inning. Seeing Cole Carlone coming out of the clubhouse again, still with that limp, and I think that leg is all iced up. It looks he's got that big bulge on his quad.
Definitely some bandage wrapped around it.
And it was weird. Saw him running no problem from the clubhouse to the bullpen. Thought that he was A-okay, and fortunately not the case. 2-1 to Callahan. Misses upstairs.
The thing is, with him running in that direction, we couldn't see his face, and that was honestly what I wanted to see the most, is to see if he was grimacing, and if I had to guess, he probably was.
You know, a guy like Carlone really wants to do everything he can to stay in this lineup. 3-1, hit on the left field line, but foul again. And it's Gurney warming up in the bullpen. Thought I should let you guys know. But with the way this game is going, just wouldn't be surprised to see Garvey go back out there, but then again, short leash and
over 75 pitches. Going into that inning, I thought it was definitely his last, but it was just, what, 6 pitches?
Mm-hmm. Full count pitch. Here it is. This is outside. Leadoff walk for Callahan. And for Rummery, I think you're at the stage where one more inning really doesn't make much of a difference. He's not, and you can't really think ahead. You got to go game by game, Will. But if you were to think ahead, what is the difference between mid-70s pitches and mid-80s to 90s? It's not much of a difference. It doesn't tack off a day, I would say. Maybe if he's at 60 pitches here, 60, 65 pitches here, and maybe you take him out and save him potentially for later. But also, it's a one-run game. First pitch to Eisenstadt, popped up on the infield. Going to be an easy play for the shortstop, Luke Hefner, and he grabs that for out number 1. Going back to what I was saying, with a one-run game, and I say this all the time, it's one of my favorite sayings in baseball. Every time that bullpen door opens, it's another opportunity for a pitcher to lay an egg. And pitchers have been great for the Bucs, but it's a one-run lead. The Bucs are up by 6 innings. Maybe they take Garvey out early and just go with a couple relievers here and there and have everyone ready to go for the games to come up. But that's just not the case.
I'd love to see him get out there. If he lets a couple base runners on, then you can pull him out. But see if he can go more. And like you said, one less inning you have to worry about somebody coming out of the bullpen and maybe just not having their stuff today.
Check back on Callahan, so Briggs awaiting that first pitch. Called strike to him, and Briggs so far in today's game, a ground out and a walk. Helped prolong that inning in the fourth, which allowed Max Ross to lay down that sec bunt after him. He's on deck looking for another RBI potentially. 0-1 called strike. Looking at Garvey Rummery right now heading to the bullpen, has that sweatshirt on, and I think we can safely say his day is done. It also looks like he has his sneakers, those bright red sneakers on, and tells me that his cleats are off and he is done for the day. So it looks like it will be Chad Gurney next inning for the Bucs.
Hopefully with more than 1-run lead.
0-2 misses outside. And for Gurney, wouldn't really be surprised to see him go the full length, but also at the same time, he's pitched so much and he's really only had, 2 days off? Because he didn't pitch against the minors. So we'd have 2 days off, but still, he's had a ton of pitches thrown this past week. So maybe he comes in just for the inning.
And then you save yourself the chance of having him throw extended innings in 2-3 days or whatever it may be if he only goes 1. I wouldn't expect him to go 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
If he's going to go multiple innings, I'd expect it to be earlier in a game.
Agreed. 1-2. Off the fingertips fouled. And this, like you said, gives the Bucs an opportunity that if they do get into a position where someone's not having their A-game starter-wise, that he can go in the second or third inning and provide that cover till you get to the later half and can put in guys like Rudd and Arnett, Inyart, Torres as well. So a lot of decisions to make for Coach Montez and the Bucs coaching staff. Wilkes set, taking his time. 1-2. Popped up, foul ground. It will stay in play for Chase Knight, shading over towards the Bucs dugout, and he makes the grab for out number 2.
Yeah, unfortunate from Briggs. Put up a fight with that last foul ball, but this one way too high in the air, way too much time for Knight at third base.
So Max Ross now. He will bat with Callahan still aboard at first base. Three hits for the Bucs on 1 run. 2 hits, no runs for the Pilots.
Both teams leaving a few opportunities on the base paths too. Not a ton of action, but in the playoffs, you feel like almost every time you leave a guy on, it's a missed chance.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully the Bucs got that out of their system. We saw tons of left on bases for the Bucs in their stretch where they were just struggling to score runs, but still kept getting guys on. Hopefully they're past that. First one misses upstairs to Max Ross. Ross so far has brought the only RBI in for the Bucs with that bunt, scoring Callahan from third base, and a great job. Also grounded out to the second baseman, Troy Sanders, who's still been pretty busy over there. Welk delivers 1-0, fouled by Max Ross.
I haven't really had to see Ross make any throws from center field to test that shoulder, which honestly, probably a good thing.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. And with that, I'm looking now, he does not have a single fly ball head out to him. Everything's been to left or right, but actually just 2 balls. 1 to left, 1 to right. 1-1 misses just a bit outside.
Neither of the hits to him either. One over a leaping Will Burns into left field, and the other one stayed on the infield after hitting Darryl Cooper at second base. So he hasn't had to field anything and even toss it back in.
2 balls, 1 strike. Check back to first. That ball gets away. Callahan is up and running. He's going to head into second base. He's going to be told to go to third. They're just now getting the ball. Here comes the throw. It is nowhere near in time. And Callahan safe at third base. The second run standing 90 feet away, but 2 down for Max Ross with a 2-1 count.
Another huge mistake from the Pilots. We saw it happen with Callahan. There was a wild pitch, I believe, right, when he was on second base, getting him to third. And now a wild throw from Drew Welk, and he ends up at third. And another wild pitch, he could be home, or just a simple single from Max Ross, which would not have done the job when Callahan was just at first base.
Ross just needs to do his job. Hey, third baseman Chase Knight's pretty far back. Will, what about another punt here? Wouldn't be too crazy. 2-1, he holds up. Now a hitter's count.
The only reason I'd be surprised by that is we just haven't seen the Bucs bunt a ton.
Right.
With the main objective being to get themselves on.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fair. But with Ross's speed and Chase Knight pretty far back, not going to do it. 3-1 misses outside. Wise decision. And it's a 2-out walk. And this is similar to the fourth inning where the Bucs got the run. They had, Callahan got aboard with that double, eventually got around to third base. One was down. Brody Briggs made it first and third with one down, and then Max Ross with the sac bunt. But here there's two down.
Does make it more difficult. Burns is going to need a hit unless the Pilots gift the Bucs a run with Callahan.
Great stop by Baraja. Saved another run, and that one a nasty breaking ball from Drew Welk, and they almost paid the price.
And now if you're Burns, you can probably sit fastball after that breaking ball. Barajas wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit too nervous to call it again.
Love that call, Will. I think you're exactly right. We'll see if Burns can turn on one. Check back to first, and I'll tell you, Drew Welk is firing that ball to first base. He really lets it go, and I think that might have hurt him when he was trying to get Callahan. He is putting a lot into it. 1-0 is way outside. Ross holds up at first base. Obviously don't want to run into an out.
At the same time, though, they might just give you second base.
Right.
But with two outs and a guy on third, I think I wouldn't expect him to run, but I also would not be too surprised if he does.
2-0 stays put in the air towards center field. Logan Sanders is going to have this one. Reaches up and makes a grab for out number 3. So the Bucs leave two stranded on the base pass and cannot get another run into score. They'll take a 1-0 lead into the 7th inning. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the 7th inning, and like we suspected, Garvey Rummery's day is done, and he leaves it off to Chad Gurney, who is onto the hill. Like we said, he's been warming up for the past couple of innings. Gurney coming into this game with a lot of innings pitched, just 4 under Zan Rose, who has 39 innings pitched. That's the most for the Bucs, but 35 innings pitched for Chad Gurney. This is his 11th appearance. His 10 previous, 3 have been starts. The rest have been out of the bullpen as of late. One of them, his first appearance, was out of the bullpen way back earlier in the season. 4-2, 35 innings, 35 and 1/3 innings pitched, 23 hits, and 12 earned runs, good for a 3.06 ERA. And now with the play-by-play, taking you home is Will Hopkins.
Appreciate it, Vic. And Gurney's been used a lot, 4 times in the last week and a half. His last time out, an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, as he starts with a strike on the outside corner to Chase Knight. And that was an instance coming just 3 days later than 6 2/3 with 2 earned runs, which was a great outing, and an outing that we didn't expect because he went 3 1/3 just 2 days before that. So I think that latest outing, not something to be worried about as much as his arm probably not being quite ready, but hopefully it is now. Only 3 days later, though, so tough to say, but he's obviously ready to go and likes being used pretty often. This is his 4th time facing off against the Pilots. 8 innings, 9 hits, and 3 earned runs through the first 3, and a 1-2 count against Chase Knight, who puts it high in the air to left field. Riley Hunsaker a few steps towards the line, no problems. First out under Gurney's belt.
And Gurney's another pitcher that's not going to blow you away with crazy velo, but he will also pitch to contact and will get weak fly balls just like that. And just surprised seeing him, even with 2 days rest. 2 days of rest for him and Arnett, it seems like is almost a week, because we're used to seeing them almost every single game now pitching for the Bucs. If we don't see Arnett, which he's still warming up, we might see him tomorrow. We'll definitely see him tomorrow, I would assume.
Yeah, and for Rummery, a great outing. some of those innings not his best stuff, but most importantly, put a 0 on that scoreboard for each and every inning for the Pilots. As this one's fouled out of play for Remery. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs obviously, 2 walks and 5 strikeouts with a hit by pitch mixed in there as well, but really managed things. Some innings look dominant. Another chance on the left side. This in foul territory. Callahan going towards the fence, reaching for it, and he makes the play just shy of it.
Love that. And you could hear, or not hear, but you could tell that Burns and Hunsaker letting him know how close he is to the fence. 10 feet, 5 feet, wall, 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 wall. And when you hear that wall, you got to make sure you put your hand up. And you could see Callahan putting his hand up pretty early, making sure he could feel that fence, but he didn't even have to as he caught it just shy of it. So good job from Callahan. Not an easy play to make. You're going out and away. So it's always going to be difficult.
And battling the sun here, too. Another fly ball on the left side. Going to be the first man who made out number 1. Riley Hunsaker with out number 3. 8 pitches per Chad Gurney. 3 outs for the Pilots. Time to stretch here in Anchorage. Bucs looking for some more runs when we come back. Bottom of the 7th inning. Hope you had a good stretch. Hopefully the Bucs stretched and ready to do some damage at the plate. Just one run between these two sides. It came in the bottom of the 4th inning on a sac bunt. A real pitcher's duel that has now gotten into the bullpens, but this really does feel like playoff baseball.
It really does. And up here, we're kind of just hoping, okay, maybe 1, 2, 3s aren't so bad. Just if both teams can have them, and just really counting down those outs that both teams have left, especially the Pilots. But for the Bucs, just trying to add some more runs.
Hunsaker puts a swing on it, left field, tailing away from Dylan Marks, who is just barely going to run out of room.
Wow, the Bucs, especially Hunsaker, super lucky that that wind is going from right to left. That is the sole reason why Dylan Marks could not make that grab. That was just inches away from his glove. And like I said, with no wind, that is a caught fly ball out in left field.
Yep, Hunsaker gets a second chance. Hopefully he can make the most of it. Bucs would love some more runs. You talked about counting down outs. Counting down outs would feel a lot better if it was not just a one-run cushion. Hunsaker, Vandegrift, and Adam Enyart due up for the Bucs in the home half of the 7th. As that pitch finds the top part of the zone.
Just even one more run would help a lot. Just makes you way more comfortable knowing that that batter that comes up to the plate each time isn't the tying run.
100%. 40th pitch coming from Drew Welk, the reliever, and Hunsaker spoils it foul to stay alive. Hunsaker 0 for 2 with a couple of ground outs, but put the ball in the air once in this at-bat and on the ground once as well.
A rapidly fast top half of the inning for Gurney. Would have maybe said if he had a longer top half, they would have just rolled with 3 straight pitchers to cover the last 3 innings. That ball's outside to Hunsaker, but now my thought process is because he just threw 8 pitches, send him out there one more inning and then give it to Rudd for the save. That's the way I would go. And then Rudd should be ready to go for game 2 because, you know, his style of pitching, you can get out of here quick.
You sure can. Not a quick ground ball. Going to have to hustle. Chase Knight bobbles it. Riley Hunsaker's speed definitely having an impact on that one. Chase Knight had to charge it and just could not get the ball into his hand to make the throw.
Yeah, and it's a tough play to come and make, but he got to it really fast, and with no bobble, Hunsaker's going to be out. Hunsaker is fast, don't get me wrong, but that's a play you got to make if your Mark's over there, and he got, like I said, got to it pretty quick. So even though it was a chopper, it got out to him fairly fast, and unfortunately will not be a hit for Hunsaker, but does get on base.
Second error from the Pilots. First one coming from Welk as Vandegrift showing bunt pulls it away.
Yep, scoreboard agrees with me.
He sure does. He didn't at first, but now he does.
Always feels good when we're on the same page with him.
100%. One ball and one strike to Vandegrift. Pitch is going to get away at first base, but just got a piece of, I believe it's Jake Dodge over there at first base now. Just got a piece of his mitt, and unluckily for the Bucs, not far enough away for Hunsaker to be on the move.
Hunsaker's a little lucky, though. If that throw was on target, he was not sliding back into the bag and would have been a bang-bang play. I like to think he's safe, even if it's a good throw. Never know.
So Jake Dodge coming in for Owen Hayes as Vandegrift does get this one down. Barajas calls off Welk. He makes a great play at first, but good job by Vandegrift doing his job.
That was a really good bunt on a really tough breaking ball from Welk, going away from Vandegrift and having to basically track the ball with your barrel. And he lays down a fantastic bunt, and Barajas just doing everything correct on that play to get him out. If not, that could have easily been a bunt single, and I was super ready to give him base hit for that because, like I said, it's really tough to bunt those breaking balls like that. And it would have been a base hit if Barajas didn't play it absolutely perfectly.
So now Enyart up with Hunsaker in scoring position. He swings at the first pitch. Owen Hayes fields the grounder, or not Owen Hayes, excuse me, Jake Dodge, who had come in, steps on first base, but Hunsaker over to third. Only problem now is there's 2 outs.
Yeah, that is the only issue, but, you know, you still got the runner over and still have a chance.
So now Andrew Lamb steps in. Hunsaker just 90 feet away, so Barajas will need to be on his best behavior. First pitch is downstairs.
And I still believe Lamb is out for blood against these Pilots, especially Barajas. You don't see him get that animated. And he wasn't super animated, but still not liking what trash talk was coming from the Pilots, and you know he wants to make up for it.
He sure does.
I think things have calmed down between the two. Of course, Barajas behind home plate, I would hope so.
That could change with a big base hit, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Lamb pretty pumped up. Hopefully we get the chance to see that. Called strike on the outside corner. Good pitch from Welk. Not much Lamb is going to do with that 2-0.
Not at all. But it's a good opportunity for Lamb here to choke up and just look for a base hit. We know he's an extra base hit machine. It's weird when we see him actually line something through for a single. But here's a great opportunity to not need to do too much.
Just too low, and now 3-ball, 1-strike count. We've seen these 3-1 counts with a runner on third base, and more often than not, the Buck has been walked. That would give Ryan Callahan a chance, and Pilots know they got to be wary of him.
Love that last take from Lamb. He's got to be confident now.
3-1, puts it on the ground to second. Troy Sanders continues his busy day, making the throw to the new first baseman, Jake Dodge. Hunsaker left stranded at third base. We had to the final 2 innings, still just 1 run between the 2 sides. Top of the 8th inning, Chad Gurney stays out there, and not very surprisingly, only threw 8 pitches in the 7th. to retire Knight, Cozen, Sanders, and now he faces the other Sanders, second baseman Troy, who just made the final out in the bottom of the seventh. And both these second basemen today have been very busy. Can't say the same of the shortstops, usually the other way around, but I guess with this Bucs lineup, it's not the most surprising.
Yeah, it's crazy, and the Bucs are just ahead on some of these pitches and are rolling over it, pulling it towards second base because, like we said, mostly left-handed batters for the Bucs, and for the Pilots, I think most of their lineup is righty, so they're just late on pitches.
Late on that one, fouled straight back near the synergy camera over to our right.
Did it hit it?
No, it did not hit it. Beautiful pitch right there on the outside corner. Gets the call, and now 1-2. Troy Sanders hitless so far.
And with it being later into the game, you know the Pilots are probably going to take more pitches.
Looked very similar.
And with that being said, when I say take more pitches, basically meaning that they're not going to have quick at-bats like you saw last inning with those 3 straight pop-ups.
Testing the inside corner. Now the count runs full. Troy Sanders has watched a couple close ones.
I think Gurney will take notice of it, though, after this at-bat and realize that it's just got to pound the strike zone.
Pounds it there, and second baseman hits it to the second baseman, who retires the second baseman.
Here's a perfect example. Another ground ball to second. You could see that Troy Sanders is just late on it. We've seen that a lot from righty batters for the Pilots.
You sure have. How many putouts is that for Rob Vandegrift?
Whew. I'll get back to you, but
in an hour, so after you add all those up, it's a ton. As that one misses downstairs.
I think I've got 8 or 9.
Does that include the one in the air also?
Yes.
Check swing lined over the Pilots clubhouse out of play. I mean, that's a ton. That is a ton. It's like a third of the plays, if not more.
9.
Another chance on the right side, and a great job by Eisenstadt to get it before it goes foul. Quick second out, and things were moving quickly with Rummery on the mound, but Gurney's taking it to another level.
Yeah, really is taking it to another level, and we're not seeing those same 3-ball counts, and that last at-bat was really good. A quick at-bat. I think Gurney's realizing that's later into the game. He probably got a little lucky that with those 3 flyouts coming so quick in the at-bats, but now is realizing that they're going to put up more of a fight and are probably going to see more pitches from Gurney and see what they like. So for Gurney, just pound the strike zone and make them put it into play.
2 balls, no strikes to the shortstop Hefner. He's 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch back in the first inning. Out of the hand of Garvey Rummery. 2 balls, no strikes. Now 3 balls, no strikes, and last thing you want to do is issue a free pass to a team that only has 2 hits, one of them hitting an umpire, not getting out of the infield. A walk is a rally. That is for sure in the playoffs. And here is a walk.
Yeah, just not really sure what's going on with Gurney on that at-bat, missing arm side. Just not what we saw through the first 5 batters that he's faced, so hopefully have some better luck versus Stolga. Has not seen the top of the order. Came in last inning and faced 6, 7, and 8. Had no problem. Had no problem with 9 and 1.
Check on first, nothing doing. First pitch coming to Luke Stolga. After a long pause from Gurney, finally comes home with it, and it was a great one, worth the wait, swing and a miss.
Yeah, it really was. I'm kind of surprised to see that out of Stolga. One of the better bats for the Pilots, and you think after last inning and how quick it was, the Pilots want to put together longer at-bats like Hefner just did, but swinging early on a pitch that way outside of strike zone, and it was a really good pitch, but still.
Stolga struck out his last time to the plate. Gurney looking to get Stolga as his first victim. Or maybe just another patented quick out. And he might just have that, a grounder to Vandegrift. He'll go over to second base. Will Burns steps on the bag of fielder's choice. Ends the Pilots' threat in the top of the 8th. Last chance for insurance for the Bucs. Would love a little bit more of a cushion when we come back. New pitcher on for the Pilots, trying to keep the Bucs at bay. Ryan Callahan and crew will have other ideas, but it's Max Zawistowski, and like you were saying during the break, a guy that's pitched a lot lately.
Ton of innings. This is his 14th appearance and his 13 beforehand. 4 starts, the rest coming out of the bullpen. 1-6, tough sledding. 47 and a third innings pitched is crazy. 55 base hits and 41 earned runs. 7.80 ERA is really struggling. Is a guy that the Pilots go to seemingly when they're in trouble a little bit, just a guy to eat innings, it seems. So I'm interested in why he's in pitching right now with Drew Welk doing so well. I'm guessing Drew Welk hasn't pitched that long before. But yeah, just really interested to see and why Max Zawistowski is pitching, and just hoping for better luck than his recent outings.
For Welk, it was 52 pitches, so a little bit understandable that he got pulled, but he did his job of keeping the Bucs at just the 1 run. 3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. As Zawistowski faces Callahan to get things started, the lefty-lefty matchup. Mac missed outside. For Zawistowski, he's pitched twice against the Bucs, and a story of 2 different outcomes as Callahan puts a good swing on this one, hit hard out to center, and that ball just died out there for Logan Sanders. Really seemed like it was hit well off the bat.
Yeah, it really was similar to that double he had. This one just a little bit too far over to center field, and I think he didn't barrel up as much, but also that wind blowing from right field to left. I think if there's no wind, well, that ball is staying true into the gap, and it's probably going to get down, but that wind is shading it closer to Sanders out there in center field, so I'm not surprised.
Now Eisenstadt digs in. He's 0 for 3, takes one outside. For Zawistowski, the first time, 2 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, so solid stuff. Second time, 3 1/3, 7 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned. So the Bucs looking for a little bit more of that second appearance against the Bucs. As Eisenstadt goes the other way for a base hit. That's a start. Even with 1 out, a chance to add on to this 1-run lead. Would love another one.
Yeah, another one is crucial here. Like I said, you do not want to keep facing these Pilots bats knowing that one big swing could tie up this ball game. But a really good job by Tommy Eisenstadt. Zawistowski looks like he could be a guy that has a sub-3 ERA. Lefty has a weird type of motion that seems hard for lefty bats, but a good job by Eisenstadt and a good job by Callahan. Just got a little bit under it, but I don't even say that. Just got unlucky with the wind.
So Brody Briggs steps into the box. He swings at the first pitch, fouls it off on the left side, and for Zawistowski, his confidence could probably get shaken pretty easily because just 4 days ago in that wild 16-12 loss against the Oilers that we referenced, 4 innings, 9 hits, 7 earned runs. So you get a couple guys on, and his mind could definitely start going in some negative directions. Briggs shows bunt, and he skies that this could be a problem. Barajas luckily does not get to it in time, but that had an out gifted to the Pilots written all over it.
Yeah, and I like the idea by the Bucs. Try to play small ball any way they can, get a runner in scoring position, but really lucky break for Brody Briggs, and he knows it, and definitely will try to make up for it right now. Had a lot of backspin on that ball and was able to get way out of the reach of Barajas, who has to obviously stand up, take the mask off, turn around. So a lot of moving parts there.
Getting the signs from Coach Sanagorski at third. Wouldn't expect bunt with 2 strikes, but we have seen it from the Bucs some this season. Briggs is not bunting and has to duck his head out of the way.
Yeah, with that last bunt attempt, I'm assuming that they would not give him the sign again. Looking out in the bullpen, it's Andrew Rudd, who's been the go-to guy for save opportunities for the Bucs. And with Gurney pitching that last inning flawless, Arnett sat down and gives way to Rudd potentially for the 9th.
Good eye from Briggs on a pitch that's too far outside. Count evens 2-2. And for Rudd, there was a stretch where he was pitching, it seemed like almost every day. He's been used a little bit less the last week, and really has been used the perfect amount where you think he'd be ready to go, but also not too long without pitching. 2-2 is low and outside.
And he's perfect because, like you just said, for a guy that's used mostly for save opportunities, you want to have the ability to pitch him 2, maybe even 3 games in a row if he can, which he could because he works so fast and just pitches that 1 inning in the 9th.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Eisenstadt at first. A long look at him from Zawistowski, and now home. Eisenstadt was going with it, but he'll have to go back over there with Briggs fouling it off of himself.
I'm not sure if that was a hit and run. It was a late swing by Briggs. Maybe just trying to protect Eisenstadt at the last second, but there are 2 strikes.
Yeah, so he's got to protect for himself, and if he didn't think it was a strike, then he wouldn't be protecting. He would just go over to first base. So We'll see if Eisenstadt's up to anything again. I've seen him running more lately. Tough with the lefty Zawistowski. Long pause, and now a throw over there.
He's got a really good move, though, similar to Garvey's, the lefty pickoff move and close to that balk, but can kind of get away with it, too, if you're really confident in it.
Eisenstadt increasing his lead ever so slightly. He stays put. Briggs pops this one up just past the infield dirt. Luke Hefner in that turf grass. Late adjustment makes the play. That one was playing tricks on him, it seemed.
Yeah, it's blown into it's hitting the perfect part for the wind to really get to it and blow it closer to the third base line, which is exactly what it did.
Another lefty-lefty matchup. Fourth one in succession against Zawistowski, and that could be a reason why he was put into this game.
I was just about to say that. Well, it probably is. You know, Zawistowski with his inflated ERA probably still has really good splits against lefties.
Called strike on Ross.
But a guy who gives up runs in bunches would assume that he's laid some eggs to lefty batters, but maybe just has a knack for pitching against them in high intensity situations like right now.
Super slow breaker over the plate. Good pitch from Zawistowski, and now Ross behind in the count, 0-2. Gonna need a battle with 2 outs, trying to give the Bucs a little bit of insurance. Zawistowski, another long look at Eisenstadt, and he's gonna check over there.
Yeah, Eisenstadt's got to be careful. Really good move from Mac. Do not want to be the third out at first base.
Absolutely not. Want to give Max Ross a chance. Has his lone RBI. Sack bunt. Brought home Ryan Callahan from third in the 4th inning. That's it so far for either team. 0-2 with 2 outs. Ross just stays alive. Another breaking ball from Zawistowski, and
I thought he hung it. Thought Max just missed that one and probably wants it back.
Ross maybe wasn't expecting it and did a good job to adjust to it. If Ross can reach, then Will Burns will come up. Bucs trying to give Andrew Rudd a little bit more room to work with. Another long pause from Zawistowski. And every time so far when he's paused for that long, he's gone over to first.
Yeah, it's a tell for sure, but also at the same time, not much you could do about it if you're Eisenstadt. He could switch it up, and at one time he switches it up, you get caught in a pickle.
And if you're Ross, you could switch it up and come home, so you got to be ready as well. Another long pause. He is coming home. Ross swings at the breaking ball, and it's another pop-up in the infield. Chase Knight, the third baseman, comes in, and he makes the play. No runs for the Bucs in the bottom of the 8th. We head to the top of the 9th. Andrew Rudd and the Bucs looking to close things out with a 1-run lead. Welcome back. Top of the ninth inning. Andrew Rudd on for the Bucs, looking to close things out and take game one of this first round of the ABL playoffs.
Yeah, and Rudd has just been absolutely nails for this Bucs team. This is his 14th appearance and his 13 beforehand. None of them have been starts. He's been a big bullpen guy. 2-1 with 4 saves, 28 and third innings pitched, 22 hits, 2 earned runs, .64 ERA. Starts with a big strike.
Yep, swing and a miss from Barajas. He's only faced the Pilots twice, which is a little bit surprising considering how much or 3 times, excuse me, which is a little bit surprising, I guess, considering how much he's pitched, and so far so good. No runs allowed, 1 appearance of 4 innings, 1 of 2 innings, and 1 of 1 inning. All of them good. A line drive to right field, and this thing's got a little bit tougher as that one drops in front of Andrew Lamb.
Yeah, not ideal. I mean, we just do not see Rudd give up anything, really, runs or hits. And like I said, coming into this game, 22 hits in 28 innings would suggest that he's, given up a good bit of hits. But it's as of late, we've really seen him do a good job of just having quick 1, 2, 3 innings. And now first plate appearance for Jake Dodge recently into the game.
Yep, Jake Dodge has been playing defense for a few innings, but with the Bucs throwing 1, 2, 3s, he hasn't had a chance at the plate. For Rudd, he pitched against the Chinooks on the last of July. 3 innings, which is more than we're used to seeing him go. 2 hits and 1 earned run, just to give him a chance to pitch, just so he'd be ready here. But in the appearances before that, 2 1/3, 1 inning, 1 inning, 1 inning, and no runs in any of those, just 2 hits combined. So hoping to showcase some of that. Would love a ground ball here. Do not want that runner representing the tying run to get into scoring position as Dodge shows bunt down the line, and the Bucs should touch it, and they do as that one's foul.
Good job by Brody Briggs, obviously the captain of not just the infield, but captain of the whole entire team, as he is the only player that can see all 8 fielders in front of him at a given time. And really good job by him letting Callahan and Rudd know not to touch it, but to let it go foul. And a great job there.
So 0-1 to Dodge. We'll see if he shows again. Callahan at third base, in on the grass. He's not showing. He swings away and he fouls it off. Good job by Rudd getting ahead 0-2.
Yeah, really big. And I think Rudd and the Bucs probably knew that with Dodge squaring with the first time and not being able to get it down, you might not see him square again because he's not the ideal bunt candidate.
No balls and 2 strikes. Barajas at first. Dodge at the plate. Here comes from Rudd. Ground ball to Vandergrift. He goes to Burns for 1. Burns on to Eisenstadt. Huge double play.
Huge, Will. Great turn. And the Bucs get what they desperately need, a ground ball double play. And I say desperately because it just really takes all the stress off of you. You've got the go-ahead run at the plate. And then now you erase it. 4-6-3. Just 1 more out remains.
Yep, really eases things, but this game is still not over. Got to get Chase Knight, who puts the first ball in play down the left field line, tailing, and luckily foul, because Hunsaker was not getting to that one.
Yeah, certainly.
Really does ease things up, but it can switch back just like that. That foul ball goes to show how quickly things can switch back, and if the Pilots get a extra base hit, then boom, you have the tying run in scoring position just like that. So Rudd definitely wants things to end here with Knight, with Coes waiting on deck.
And you're ahead already right here. A lot of opportunity to stay ahead and really just pound the zone. I think that's exactly what Rudd's going to do.
0-1 called strike. Andrew Rudd, a strike away from giving the Bucs game 1 of this first round matchup against the rival Pilots. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rudd brings it. Strike 3 call. Chase Knight stares it out, number 27, and the Bucs take game 1 by a score of 1-0.
Great job. Andrew Rudd coming in, slamming the door. A base hit is not going to phase him, Will. He's been so sharp all season long in the Bucs. Yes, the bats are a little bit quiet, but I'll tell you, the pitching has been solid all season long, and they get it done in today's game. And Will, it is a shame because the only thing that went wrong today is Cole Carlone, who makes his way slowly out on the field. But we will save talking about that for a little bit later. Right now, the Bucs take game 1, a crucial win, and it sets them up perfectly going into tomorrow.
Taking game 1 in any series is big. When it's a 3-game series, it is huge. Only needing to win 1 of the next 2 games, and the way the playoffs are formatted, if you can win that next game, getting that day off would be absolutely huge. The Bucs pretty quiet at the plate, so we got to focus on the pitching. My goodness, everybody that stepped onto that mound for the Bucs did their job and did so in fantastic fashion. Garvey Rummery, 2 hits in 6 innings of no-run ball. Chad Gurney, no hits in 2 innings of no-run ball. And Andrew Rudd faces the minimum after turning 2 and getting Chase Knight to go down looking to end this one.
Yeah, just a great job all around. And you love to see the Bucs in victory formation. Team is just so loose. They're playing so well. And yeah, the Bucs bats were a little bit quiet today, but they got the job done, and that's all that matters. And Will, hey, they probably save some runs for tomorrow. They definitely probably save some runs for tomorrow. Check that.
Speaking of tomorrow, these two will do it again a couple of hours earlier, 2 o'clock Alaska time. That's 6 o'clock for those of you tuning in on the East Coast. Would love to see you come to the ballpark and cheer on the Bucs. The Bucs will be batting in the first inning. The Pilots considered the home team for Game 2, so make sure to get here early and get the bats going early. We'll finish up today's game with the final line score. No runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors with 6 left for the Pilots. 1 run, 4 hits, no errors, and 8 left for the Bucs. The Bucs take Game 1 here in Anchorage. For Vic Massey, I'm Will Hopkins. We'll see you next time.